Hello again, everyone. In this module, we are going to take a look at another very useful Python module. It's called Pillow, which is for working with and handling images. Now that we have some knowledge of working with the operating system module, I think it's good to take a look at this too. We will be taking a look at using some of these, of course, in future practical lessons. So I'm going to go ahead and create a brand new Python 3 notebook, and I'm going to call this one 0. What are we up to now? It's 013. So 013 Pillow. So Pillow is an external library that we actually have to install first. And the way you install these in Jupyter Notebook is by doing exclamation point pip install. Pip is the Python installer program, that's what it's short for, and then Pillow. Let's do Shift Enter and see what happens. The kernel is busy. This could be a good thing or a bad thing, but hopefully we'll install everything. It says the requirements are already satisfied. Apparently it's installed as part of the installation in the past. So that's good. Let's go ahead and import from Pill. It's actually you installed as Pillow, but then the library itself is called Pill, P-I-L, all caps. And Python is case sensitive, as you recall. We want to bring in the image method. Oh, not method, but the image component. Let's go ahead and open and view an image. Now, I have actually put some images here. Let's take a look. So you can see that I have these various images. Take a look. It's kind of big, so it doesn't fit very well. I try this one. You can see they're kind of big because I'm zoomed in here. But if I were to zoom out and even go below, you can see that there's I took my son to Disney World, so you can see that the images are showing up. Let me put this back at the proper one for our coding purposes. So let's actually take a look at. I am going to first do a print. You know what I need? I also do need the. I'm going to come over here and import OS also. So I have both of those. I'm going to print os.get current working directory, as we learned. So it tells us that we are sitting inside of this Python folder. So if I want to be working with the images, let's actually do a os.change directory and change to 013 space images. And then do this print statement again. Make sure we are sitting in the proper folder, and we are. So I could do print os dot let's say list directory. So I can see all my images, and it returned basically a list for me, which is fine. Let's pick on one of these and actually open and view it. So let me take this and cut that and put it over here so it makes a little bit more sense. So I'm going to create a variable. My image is equal to, call the image object that we brought in, and call the open method, and I'm going to pass to it, for instance, this one right here. All right, now if I do this, that basically just assigns it to my image. I can call my image.show to actually show the image, and this is going to be probably pretty huge. Here we are, and there it is. It actually showed us the image, which is wonderful. So there we go. Let's go ahead and loop through the directory and let's say, well, actually first do this one at a time. Let's say that, notice that these are JPEG. Suppose I want to save this one as a PNG. Let's go ahead and save a JPEG as a PNG. So to do that, I'll just call my image, and I'm going to call it save method, and I'm going to save it as, let's say, the same thing, but .png. Okay, let's take a look at this directory again and see what we have in there. And you can see that I do have a PNG now. I have a PNG version of that was saved for us, which is wonderful. Now that I have that, I like to loop through the directory and save the JPEGs as PNGs. PNGs do allow for transparency, whereas JPEGs do not. So I'm going to say for F in os.list directory, the current directory, which is represented by a period. You may recall that the double dot represents the parent directory. So for the current directory, we're going to do a conditional if the file ends with. So this is another method of the various the files in the OS library. If it ends with a JPG, forget my dot, or f dot ends with, even though I don't have one of those here, but suppose I did, if it ends with a JPEG like that. So if it's either one of those, we would like to print the file so we can actually see it. I'm going to let a variable I be image.open the file. So it just opens it. It doesn't display it. We're not asking it to show. It just opens it, just like we did earlier when we said the open right here, but then we had to show it. So it opens the file. Then I'm going to have two variables. I'm going to have a file name and a file extension be equal to os.path split text, split extension, I should say, of the file, okay, of the F. You may recall we covered this in the OS module, and the split ext split extension actually splits the file name and its extension and returns a tuple. And we're assigning that the first piece is going to be assigned to the file name, which is what we want, and the second piece to the extension. Now that I have that, I can use what I did up here, which was to save. I can say i.save, save it as a PNG /. So we're putting it inside a folder called PNG /. Actually, you know what? I don't want to save it into PS. I save it into the same place. So I save it with a placeholder .png, and this placeholder is going to get its stuff from the format. So this is going to get from file name. There you go. So we get the file name. We basically dump it into this place, and we attach a PNG to it, of course. All right, let's check it out and see what happens. Okay. So I'm going to do Shift Enter, and I can see that I have my first file. That's this one right here. There's the second file. It's showing up. It's taking care of them. These are pretty high-res files, so that's why it's taking a little while. Okay, it's going through. Now it should skip over this, of course, because this is a PNG and it doesn't fit the mold. So we did the last one, which is 54 right here. Probably should have put in there to print the new file names too. Kernel stopped, so we're good. Let's actually do a print os.list directory right here. And sure enough, we can see that the PNGs were in fact created for us, which is great. So we have basically saved all these files as PNGs. Let's take a look at photo resizing. So I can see that these things are pretty large. So it'd be nice to actually make them a little bit smaller. So I'm going to create a size 400, let's say, referring to the fact that I'm going to make them 400 by 400. And I'll assign it this tuple. This is a tuple, as you recall. With the comma creating the tuple, the parentheses just make it look nicer, but they're not necessary. So what I'm going to do, in the interest of not having to type all of this, I'm going to take this for loop right here and copy and paste it, so that we are going through the same, JPEGs. I'm going to do the same split. Didn't copy this one. Let me bring it down here and paste it down here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the image I and call the thumbnail method, which and pass to it the size. And this thing takes a tuple for its parameter. So it takes a tuple, you dump it in there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I.save. And let's go ahead and save this in a directory called 400. And I'm going to save it with this name _400. And let's go ahead and call it format, file name, and file extension. So we're not actually converting to PNG here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a folder that is not there yet. So 400 / it's going to take the file name, put it in here, put an _400, and then put the extension there, which is of course JPEG as well. Let's check this out. Let's do a Shift Enter here. So, oopsie, we got an error message. No such file or directories. Yes, we don't have that directory, so let's go ahead and create that directory. I am going to go ahead and create a new folder here. And I'm going to select that and rename it as 400. Of course, we could do this via Python too, but this is fine. I don't need all these extra spaces here either. Let me get rid of them. Let's do a Shift Enter. And boom, 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 boom. It's all done. Let's check it out. Let's go to 400. And sure enough, you can see the size differences. We're looking at 25.4 kilobytes for this first one, for instance. But if I look at the original size, which was over here, is 1.89 megabytes. So you can see I had one that was 9.96 megabytes, 14.7 megabytes. But they're so much smaller because we actually just resized them. So that's how you can do image resizing with Pillow, which I think is quite useful. All right, let's go ahead and learn how to rotate an image. So I can take my image. Let's actually do show first to see what it was. It still should be the same one. We haven't changed this in any way. So there you go, Mr. Munchkin. And then I'm going to take my image and call the rotate method. And of course, you can always do tab to see all kinds of things that are available for you. And you can look up the Pillow library online. So we're going to do a 90-degree rotation here. And it's busy. And here we go. It actually rotated it. Notice that it does the rotation as we expect, counterclockwise. If you remember your math, that's what it's doing. Okay. Let's go ahead and if I do my image .show again. so we can see it. You can see it's still the same. It's the rotation is just, it rotates it, but the image itself hasn't been modified. What I want to do is I want to, let's say, convert the image to black and white. We can do things like that. And for that, I'm going to take my image and call the convert method. And there are a bunch of modes in here. I'm going to make the mode be L. You need to look up these things. If I wanted to save it as black and white, to be honest with you, I could just go right ahead and call the save method right here. And this would convert it to black and white and also save it. All right, I'll make a note here. I won't do that. Add .save to the end to save it. Let's actually check it out. That is converted to black and white. All right, so here we go. There's a black and white version of it. You can see that it works really well. We can also do Gaussian blurs and things like that. Let's go ahead and add a blur. So from pillow, we're going to image or import image filter. Let's do Shift Enter, make sure no errors there. I'm going to take my image and I'm going to call the filter method on it. And I'm going to pass to this from image filter the Gaussian blur. Okay, so this is not going to give you not much of a blur, but it should still be, possibly if you have very sharp eyes, somewhat visible. Alright, so not a whole lot of blur. Barely. Let's go ahead and actually add a value to this. So I'm going to come down here and paste that and give it a 10. And this is going to be some major blurring at this point. Here we go. So we have some real nice blur that was applied. And lastly, I would like to discuss image transformation. There are a bunch of constants that are built into Pillow that you can apply to your images. So I'm going to create an output variable, and I'm going to say my image dot transpose image dot flip. As you can see, when I press the tab key, I have left, right, and then I'll take a look at output. Let's check it out. It should flip it. As you can see, it did flip it. So this is the original image, and if you look at the the word Halloween is going back the other way because it was flipped. So in the interest of not having to type a whole lot, I'll just copy and paste this down here, and I will change this from flip left right to, let's say, flip top bottom, and do that. And this one made it upside down, as you can see. We saw how we could rotate using the rotate method, but we can also do it using transpose, as you can see right here by me going in here and saying image dot rotate. And I have these options: rotate 90, there it is, same effect as using the rotate method. I will also do rotate 180. As you might expect, it's going to turn it upside down. Here it is. And then rotate 270. 270-degree counterclockwise rotation. So again, these are constants, and just for your information, by convention, constants are always spelled in all caps in Python, which is why you see the all caps. So generally, whenever you see all caps in Python, you're dealing with a constant. I hope you enjoyed this lesson on Pillow. If you're enjoying these, please share with loved ones and friends. Thanks for being a great audience, and see you in the next one.